What the fuck am I watching right now? Hello, welcome back to the True Crime Guys podcast. I'm Mark.
And I'm Michael.
How's everybody doing? Hope you had a nice Halloween. And we're back in action, man.
That's right. That's right. We're not done with the spooky, though, because in true crime, we never are.
Right.
You know.
And just a fair warning, there is violence against a child in this case. So if that's something that you're not able to tolerate when it comes to true crime, you can go ahead and check out now and see us next week. But other than that, there's a lot of interesting dynamics to this case. We have a 911 call that is very fishy. And if you've studied true crime long enough or been into it long enough, you've probably heard some 911 calls that are legit and some that were a little suspect. This is one of those sus ones.
It's usually pretty easy to tell. You know, if the 911 caller is just like, get here now, and they're just screaming the address, that is usually pretty genuine. You know what I mean? They have genuine concern for someone hurt, but when someone's
they're not
trying
interested
to
in giving you a bunch
of
a bunch of details that are just like not necessary. Right, giving you their daily routine. Well, first I do this and I brush my teeth. Like, bro, your daughter's missing. I don't care about all this.
Right. Let's back up a minute. Well, let's see. This morning I had oatmeal.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
Like, that's
and
a
she
red
watched
flag.
her favorite show, which usually runs from 9:30 a.m. to 10 a.m. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't need the whole backstory.
Yeah, we have some quotes from a PhD later in this episode from Psychology Today, which breaks down, like basically breaks down, like, what you're looking for in a 911 call, whether it's real or fake, the things to look for. And this one in particular kind of nails all of them. It's just like,
no doubt.
Yeah.
It's a great example of a very sketchy 911 call. It reminds me of the Pam Hupp episode. Remember when Pam Hupp called and the guy was in her house and she's like, "No, I won't go with you." And he's like, "What are you talking about?"
Right. Yeah.
It's just, they keep, if the caller just keeps driving home the same thing, they won't say anything else. They're just saying the same phrase over and over again. Yeah, that's a huge red flag in true crime for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, the difference between different 911 operators is, some of them are really good at their job, some aren't so good. This one was really good. They basically act as like a pre-interrogation. Like they're asking it's great when they ask a bunch of questions. When it's not like an ongoing, like there's a murderer in my house type of thing, then you don't really need the questions, like get someone here. But
right.
Like in this situation, someone's missing, like she just kept asking him questions and making him basically stumble over himself. And we're going to play the audio that we're talking about. We're going to play this 911 call. We're going to do things a little bit differently. That's basically going to be our intro for the week.
Right.
And then we'll get into the case and break down the 911 call and then go through the case itself. But this week's case has taken us to Jackson Township in Stark County, Ohio. So we're going up to Ohio, and it's a township with a population of about 40,000, located about 50 miles south of Cleveland. I had to look up what township even means, like what the hell it is, and it still confuses me. I don't really understand the concept, why they exist.
It's mainly older areas, right?
Yeah, it seems like they're mostly in the
established
Northeast
as a township.
It's like an extension of government, I guess. Here's a quote about what a township is, if you're also confused like me. Quote, brought to America in the 17th century, townships were established as a pure democratic process to provide people with a direct voice in grassroots government. Today, 20 states have the town or township form of local government. Still confused. Don't get it.
I don't see how it's described differently from just a regular town government.
Exactly.
It's just, I don't know. I feel like it's just terminology here. I feel like these small towns and these local governments in these areas are still doing the same shit that every other one is. They're just like, oh, we're a township, so you feel better about it.
Yeah.
It sounds like
you have more of a voice because you're in a township, not a town.
That's right. We're listening to you in our township.
Yep.
You're right.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're heading up to Ohio in a township, and in 2017, so a handful of years ago, 34-year-old Liang Zhao and 30-year-old Ming Chen were a seemingly normal, successful couple with a thriving restaurant and 2 young daughters. Liang Zhao was born in China and moved to the U.S. in about 1997, and so he'd been a citizen at this point for 20 years in the U.S. and had become a naturalized citizen.
Right.
Ming had a different story. She had come to the U.S. illegally from China as a teenager in search of a better life. And she claimed she was persecuted by the Chinese government for being a follower of Falun Gong, which it was interesting to learn about that. It's become kind of a, I guess it's looked at by China, like their government, as like a cult, and it's a dangerous cult in their
Okay.
opinion. But it's mainly just like a meditation practice and like a set of ways to live your life. Like it seems very peaceful to
Hmm.
me. But what do I know? I just looked into it for 5 minutes, and it's
Well, but if it goes against the government and it started
exactly,
gaining traction,
yeah, yeah.
especially the
You can't
Chinese
have all these
government.
people meditating together and doing stretches, and
Yeah,
you
that's
know,
just oh no. That could
it's
that
dangerous.
could lead to some type of uprising.
Yeah, we could probably get taken off the air if China hears this,
Right?
because it was outlawed. This Falun Gong was outlawed by their government in 1999, and so she claims she came to U.S. partly because she was being persecuted for being a follower of Falun Gong and a practicing member of it.
maybe maybe true.
Yeah,
And as a teenager, I'm sure that felt a lot more damning.
all right.
You know what I mean? Everything seems like the end of the world as a teenager.
Imagine that's being
So
a rebel
imagine,
in that country. Is like I'm really into
yeah.
meditation and a little different from the rebels over here.
Yeah, a little bit.
Such a bad teenager.
Right on. Seriously.
She's in prayer circles in the park. Can't believe it.
Right? How dare she?
Yeah. In the U.S., she found Liang Zhao, who we just talked about, who at this point was an American citizen, but also had a Chinese background. And they would end up falling in love, getting married in 2010, and starting their family. And they would have two daughters
Hmm.
born in 2010 and 2011, named JoJo and Ashley. And they would then open a restaurant, which they would run together, just the two of them running this restaurant, which was open 12 hours a day,
Yeah.
called Ang's Asian Cuisine. And
Jeez, 12 hours a
it was
day.
open 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., which just sounds grueling because like I said, they're literally the only two. And
Yeah.
they also have two daughters. So they're
I feel like this is pretty
cooking,
common for
cleaning.
small Chinese cuisine,
Yeah.
don't you think?
Yeah.
It's
But
pretty common. I mean, I know my favorite Chinese place that's near my house, they're family owned. If I
family
go
run.
there now, the same family that was there 10, 15 years ago, they're still there.
Yeah.
You know, their son's working there, their daughter
I
works
was going to
there.
say, I'm sure they were
Eh,
counting the days until their daughters were old enough to become staff members in the restaurant,
mm-hmm.
servers
And
or
what's cool,
dishwashers or whatever.
exactly. And what's cool is like the restaurant only grows as the children grow because the children are, completely bilingual,
Yeah.
which is amazing. You know, they
Mm-hmm.
speak perfect English, perfect Chinese. And so, it just helps the business grow. And then they become that more of an asset to their family. And then they feel like they play a bigger role in the
Yeah.
restaurant and then they never leave.
No doubt.
And I feel like this is very common in Chinese culture, especially in America.
Right. Yeah. So they were open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. Just like I said, 12-hour days,
Yeah.
pretty brutal. And Liang came from a family of restaurateurs. His father and uncles owned a chain of Chinese restaurants called the Lucky Star. And he had come from that background, working in those restaurants with his family. And that's what,
Right.
allowed him to go on to start his own restaurant. But
Exactly.
let's get into the reason we're doing this case. Because everything seemed normal, like I said, on the surface of their life. They had, just a little
Right.
small family running a restaurant.
Staying busy.
Yeah. But on Monday,
Mhm.
January 9th, 2017, Liang called 911 at about 9 p.m. from Ang's restaurant to report his 5-year-old daughter, Ashley, missing. And we could read the whole transcript of the call, but it wouldn't hit the same as you hearing for yourself. So this is our intro for the week. We're going to play the audio. It's, I think, about 4.5 minutes of Liang calling 911, and it's a very sus call.
Yes.
It's got all
No
those
doubt.
little red flags that you would expect.
Yeah.
And
So
we'll
enjoy
talk
this.
about those. Yeah, we'll talk about those on the other
Yep.
side of this. But enjoy this 911 call, and then we'll talk about it in detail afterwards.
All right. Sounds good.
Hi, yes, I need some help.
Okay, where are you at?
4924 Portage Street.
4924 Portage?
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
I can't find my daughter.
Okay, how old is she?
5. She just turned 5. Jojo, stop it.
Okay, and you're at Ames?
Thanks, yeah. Quiet.
When's the last time you seen her?
This afternoon, probably.
Around what time?
3, maybe 4?
So you haven't seen her in 5 hours?
You saw her at 5?
What was she wearing?
Oh, okay. What?
What was she wearing?
She's wearing a purple winter coat. I don't know what those things are called, but they're not jeans. They're like,
Like leggings?
Yeah.
What color were they?
Grayish.
Okay, and you haven't seen her in 5 hours?
About, yeah. I mean, she was there sleeping. I mean, you know.
Where was she sleeping at? In the restaurant?
Yeah. She was sleeping there, and I picked up my older daughter from school. We all saw her sleeping there. So, and you know, we went to work, and you know, we let her sleep. We got busy, and then after it got busy, you know, we started cleaning up, and then you know, we opened the door and she's not here.
Hold on 1 second, okay? Okay, sir, what's your name?
Liang Zhao.
Okay, do you have any videos or anything in there where you can see a video, see if she was laying there?
No. We don't have any security camera in there. It's just in the restaurant. We've been here for 6 years. We never had security cameras here.
Okay.
So we saw her, like all of us, like my wife, myself, and my older daughter. When we came back, when I picked up my older daughter from school, we saw her there sleeping.
Okay, and so was there any suspicious people that came in at all? Do you think she could have woke up and ran out somewhere?
I have no idea. I mean, she was sleeping in the back. It's kind of hard to say when she was.
None of your employees had seen her?
There's only two of us, just myself and my wife. There's nobody else in the restaurant. There's only three people in the restaurant.
When you guys left, who was there with you? Like, who was there with your daughter when you guys left to go get your other kids from school?
My wife. I go pick her up myself. My wife is here in the restaurant. But when we came back, she's here. Like, my wife is here. The restaurant's open. The restaurant's always open. I usually open up. I drop my daughter off. I'm sorry. I drop my daughter off at school in the morning, and then we come here to open up.
But right now, though, like, when you left, you said you, your wife, and your daughter left to go pick up your daughter from school?
No, I didn't say that. I said my wife is here all the time.
Okay, and your wife hasn't seen her either since around 4 or 5 o'clock?
Okay. I think you. Okay, when I'm in with myself. Okay, when I went to pick up my daughter, when we came back, myself and my daughter, not my wife. My wife was here the whole time. When we came back.
So your wife hasn't seen her since around the 4 or 5 o'clock either?
Yes. I mean, 你们怎么回到要看医生病啊? She said she's not sure before we got busy. Usually we get these around 4 or 5 o'clock. That's the best time we can, you know, like.
That's right. What's your daughter's name?
Ashley.
Okay. All right, my officer's outside if you want to go and meet my officer at the door, okay?
He's here right now?
Yeah, he's already outside.
In the front or the back?
He should be in the front.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Bye.
All right, so are your spidey senses tingling after that call?
Oh, so much.
Doesn't seem right, right?
So much. I'm heavily sus now.
Right. And like I said, the 911 operator doing a phenomenal job of just continuing to ask questions and kind of making him stumble. And he says, you know, right off the bat, I need some help. And he says the last time when the 911 operator asks when's the last time he saw his daughter, he says 3, maybe 4 or 5. So 3 hours.
3-hour window.
3-hour window.
I mean, I understand you get busy at a restaurant when it's just the two of you.
Yeah.
Right.
You may lose track of time, not know what time it is.
Right. But still, very suspicious when you're talking about a child.
But he wasn't just at the like, according to his own admission, he wasn't just at the restaurant the whole time like his wife was. He had gone and picked up his daughter from school and brought her back and shown his daughter, the younger daughter, sleeping. And you would think that would right there give you a timeline of, you know, what time you pick up your daughter every single day, right? From school. It's always the same. So you picked her up, you brought her straight to the restaurant, and then you showed her her younger sister supposedly sleeping in this back room. You should know exactly what time approximately say you picked her up from school at 3. You should know, you know, if it's a 10-minute drive back to the restaurant, it was probably 3:20 ish.
Right.
It shouldn't be 3 hours.
Not a 3-hour
discrepancy
window.
Here.
Yeah, that's the first red flag for sure.
Yeah. So his story is that he and his wife, you know, who run the restaurant, 30-year-old Ming Chen, took Ashley to work with them that morning after dropping off their older daughter at school. And she wanted to sleep. She was tired, supposedly, and wanted to sleep in the back room of the restaurant. and just apparently slept all day long because that's what 5-year-olds do.
Yeah,
you know,
they never
my
have
5-year-old.
energy.
Yeah, my 5-year-old. I can't get him to barely nap for an hour at this point, but whatever.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, they said that they had owned the restaurant for about 6 years and had never had video cameras, because that's another great question that the dispatcher asked was, do you have surveillance at your restaurant? And so clearly if she wandered off, or if someone took her from that back
Right.
room, snuck into the back of the restaurant or whatever and took her, then cameras would be very valuable. But according to Liang, they don't have any cameras, never have had cameras, which is kind of odd because you're talking 2017. This is not the 80s here. Like, most businesses have
Right.
surveillance at this point.
But they're in a small township. It's
Sure.
maybe crime isn't that high.
But they're also in a giant strip mall. Like, I've gone to Street View and looked at where this restaurant was. It's like somewhere where you'd imagine one of the small business to the side of a Target or something like that. It's like along there.
Oh, okay.
So you would think in this
okay.
in this massive parking lot of all these businesses, there would definitely be some surveillance there.
Yeah, somebody would have surveillance, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Because 9 times out of 10, like you say, there is a huge business that draws, whether it be a large grocery chain, a Walmart, a Target, something.
Yep.
Yeah,
and any of those are going to have a lot of cameras. But, the police never had to resort to that because this thing became resolved pretty quickly. But we'll get to that. According to Liang, he had gone to pick up his older daughter from school. And when they returned, his wife, older daughter, had all seen Ashley sleeping in the room. And he said this must have been about 3, 4, or 5, which I just don't.
Yeah, 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So by the end of the phone call, as you could hear, the dispatcher already had a police officer at the restaurant. And then Liang sounded kind of thrown off, like he's already here. Like, is he at the front or the back?
Right.
Like, what kind of dumb question is that as well? Like, why would the fuck would he go to the back?
Yeah. Is it an emergency?
The restaurant was still open.
Like...
He's going to go to the front door of the restaurant.
Yeah.
it didn't close till 11. It was 9 p.m. when he made the call.
Yeah.
He just sounded extremely nervous to me. So this police officer arrives, takes some statements, looks around the restaurant, does like a cursory look around. And the next morning it was like full on panic mode. Authorities issued a statewide endangered child alert for her. Basically, probably like what do they call those? Where it's
Amber Alert.
Amber Alert, yeah. I imagine there was an Amber Alert sent out on everybody's phones, and then all-out manhunt ensued. I mean, they had all different jurisdictions involved right away. However, the statewide hunt would come to an abrupt end that very next day, when police would make they would take a deeper look around the restaurant, and they would make a grisly discovery inside of Ang's Asian Cuisine. While searching the restaurant, police found something suspicious above the deep freezer. They found this container, which was concealed above in the kitchen above the deep freezer, and it contained young Ashley's body in it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
it's hard to explain this away.
100%.
In a restaurant where only 2 employees, and it's you.
Yeah. You and your wife.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not looking good.
Yeah. So the Jackson Township Police Department, the FBI, and Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation, in cooperation with the Stark County Coroner's Office, were tasked with investigating the death. And of course, Liang and Ming were both arrested and brought in for interrogation that day. And they tried briefly to deny. Liang was given a polygraph test and presumably failed, because right afterwards he would end up spilling the beans. And this is the story of apparently what really happened. Liang would go on to say that his wife was angry with the daughter because with young Ashley, because she was not potty trained. And that morning, what happened was Liang had gone to drop off their older daughter at school. And when he returned, he said that Ming was very upset with Ashley because she had an accident. I believe she still wore diapers and had like pottied in the diapers and then took off the diaper, which angered her. And Liang said that Ming began beating Ashley badly. And after she was done beating her, Liang said that his daughter began gasping for air and was vomiting green fluid. And he took her to the bathroom and rinsed her off, and then apparently left her there for a little while. And then when he returned, she was seemingly, something wasn't right, he said. And he began she wasn't breathing. And he began supposedly trying to do CPR for up to 40 minutes, which I just don't buy. When you hear how they treated her body afterwards and how much lack of care they had, it seems.
Yeah, this is a weird situation because Ashley's only 5 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's very typical in Chinese culture for young children to be raised by their grandparents up until the age of 4 or 5.
Which is what happened
So,
in this case.
right.
They had not
And
raised
then,
her for the majority of her life. She had been sent to China to live with his mother, her paternal grandparents,
yeah,
who raised her from basically the time she was a baby until she was 4 years old. And then they'd gotten her back, and they were just incapable, it seems, of dealing with a young child.
right. I would just like to know. I would like to know the reasoning behind this. I would like to know that I understand that as the grandmother, you want your children, your daughter or your son, whoever whose mother she was, to succeed in their business. You want to give them more time, but also, if you've already chosen to have children, those years 1 to 4, especially for a mother, are huge.
Oh, yeah.
As far as bonding with this child, going through this process, creating a forever connection.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's like getting your child. It's almost like she got her child at 4 or 5 and expected them to be self-sufficient.
Yeah.
And she's like, why are you not self-sufficient? Why are you not? And I understand not being potty trained at 5, that might be alarming. But maybe she had other issues. I mean, she did vomit green afterwards. Maybe she had other intestinal issues that they weren't looking into because they just didn't have the time. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's more common than I think, but usually most kids are potty trained by 5.
Yeah.
Maybe it was just anxiety of being in a new place. Children have accidents. Was she wetting the bed asleep, or was she having accidents awake?
And
like,
also, how much
so
time did
many
they spend?
questions I
How much time did they spend with her working on this? When they're running a business together 12 hours a day, they had no time to deal with it. And
check this out, Lauren. They're open 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
they get
There's
there
gotta be
an
prep
hour or
work,
two before,
and then clean up afterwards.
And then clean up afterwards.
Yeah.
All the dishes, desanitation. I mean, you're running a restaurant. You don't just close and leave.
It's very true. Very true.
Even if no one's there. So you're talking probably 9 in the morning to well past midnight, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what life do your kids have other than in the restaurant?
Right.
Fending for themselves.
Perhaps they should have not been so concerned about their profit margin or whatever it was, and actually hired a few members of the community to work staff for them, clean dishes, like prep work, all that stuff, and maybe been there 8 hours a day instead of 13 or 14 hours a day.
Right. Somebody part-time.
Priorities.
Maybe.
Prioritize. When you have 2 children, they become the highest priority as a parent in your life.
Should.
And also kind of something you mentioned earlier about that bonding period, 1 to 4, how crucial it is, not just for a mother, for a father too, but like it's kind of like, it's a weird analogy, but like trying to like getting a wild animal and like a horse that you have to break, that you domesticate or whatever, like that process is important. It's difficult. It's supposed to be meant to almost break you raising an infant. And then it makes makes you selfless and patient, and it makes you a better person raising a young child. And they got, I wouldn't say robbed of that, but they didn't deal with that. And so Ming Ming could not deal with this daughter. And then we're not excusing her behavior by any means. She's a monster, not just because of what she did, but because of what she did afterwards and how she talked about it. She's a complete monster.
God, yes.
I wonder if she had raised the daughter from 1 to 4, if she wouldn't have done this prior anyway, if she wouldn't have done it at 1 year old or 2 years old and just killed her. Like we see a lot of mothers that can't deal with it end up doing and putting their baby in a dumpster or something like that. Like wouldn't surprise me if she had done that anyway. But
there was a coldness to her. You have to admit.
Yeah,
there really was. Maybe she didn't have that mothering instinct. Yeah. Some people it doesn't come that easy to.
Yeah.
And then not seeing your child for 4 years after birth, that's not going to help the situation.
And this was not, we would come to find out, not the first time that she had beat young Ashley, and I'm sure she'd also beaten their older daughter as well. This is where the guilt comes in for the father, Liang, where I initially studying this felt kind of bad for him. I was like, oh shit, like this is your wife, the mother of your children. She snaps and does something like this, and I can kind of understand why he tried to help her cover it up until I heard that she had done this many prior times, and this wasn't like a one-off. This was, she had regularly beat their 5-year-old daughter and probably their 6-year-old daughter as well.
Exactly. They're only a year apart.
Yeah.
And then you're probably comparing them too. Like if the older daughter, JoJo, the 6-year-old, maybe, came of age quicker, she matured quicker or whatever, and was able to be more independent. then maybe she got more aggravated with Ashley because she didn't fit that same standard, which if any parent who has multiple kids, you notice there's huge differences in your children. Yes, they share DNA. They came from the same parents or whatever, even so. But there's still going to be huge differences in the way they mature, the way they act, the way they deal with scenarios. So, maybe I just think she wasn't as patient. Maybe JoJo was just an easier child, which a lot of times the first child is.
Yeah.
A lot of times the first baby grows up more, grows up faster.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of one-size-all parenting. Like some people have these, like,
can't.
They write these books like, this is how you can parent every child, and it's like they're all too different and like you
can't even keep the same methods with your own kids, much less every child.
Yeah. You could have 3 kids and they could all be starkly different. My two children are completely different personalities, and we treat them differently according to, how they react to things.
Yes. They have different motivations. It takes different incentives. It takes different punishments to get to them. Maybe one punishment doesn't affect one child, while the other one is like, it's world ending.
And like you said, it's very possible JoJo was very obedient and did whatever their parents said, and then there was that young Ashley who was more of a maybe vibrant. And we have some quotes from customers that would regularly visit the restaurant Ang's, and said what a sweetheart and how like she was their favorite. Like these customers would come in and she was so full of life and fun. And
she was probably starved for attention and affection.
Probably.
And so when these patrons came in, she was like, please, someone's talking to me. They're treating me with respect. They're treating,
Yeah.
Oh man, it's heartbreaking.
So when Liang realized what his wife had done and that their daughter was dead, they hatched a plan to try and make it look like she was going to disappear later, like she ran off or something like that. And they try to cover this up. They end up strapping her into her car seat as if she were still alive, and took her body back to the restaurant, laying her on the makeshift bed in the back of the restaurant in this back room. And the whole concept of this was going to be that they would then pick up their older daughter from school, bring her back to the restaurant, and make sure that she saw her younger sister in the bed, so that when the police talk to all of them, they get the same story, that she was in that room sleeping and then she disappeared. So Liang then went to Ashley's 6-year-old sister JoJo's school, picked her up and brought her back to the restaurant sometime around 3 p.m. so that she could see her younger sister sleeping. They showed her younger sister sleeping, and then went on working until 9 p.m. So by the time they called police, it had been 12 hours approximately since Ming Ming had killed her daughter. And you have to imagine rigor mortis had set in and all of this stuff at that point.
Right.
And after the arrest of the parents, Ashley's older sister, if you were wondering, ended up being put in the care of Stark County Family Services, which she's much better off with than these two monsters. Because it's just a matter of time. If they got away with that one, that they would probably do the same to her. I mean, because these kids were just a nuisance to them and their business. Seemed like they were all about money. That's all they cared about.
It seemed that way. Yeah. I think JoJo would have just been a reminder. You know what I mean? Of what they did. And it would just make them more angry, I think.
Yeah. And so Liang Zhao would ultimately, as we said, spill the beans after that failed polygraph. He would say that his wife had done this, and then he admitted to putting Ashley's body inside of a plastic container and pouring salt into the container to, as he said, reduce the stench. And the way that he talked about it too just made me hate him as well, because he, in talking about her after she died, started calling her it instead of her. Like I can't even fathom like talking about my daughter like that. Alive or dead.
Like I said, they have no connection to her. They didn't build it.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, man. I know there's an instant love, there's an instant gratification that comes when a child is born, but a lot of that is just selfish. Like it's just like, oh, I created this. Oh, it's like me. You know what I'm saying? But the real bond doesn't start, especially for a father, in my opinion, until years after. You start to build this bond. You see this child grow. You see them get closer to you, depend on you, and then you create this love and this bond with them. And these two didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like and they were so consumed with their work. It's not like they prioritized it now.
No.
Which in most of Chinese culture that do this, I'm sure their lives are ready to go by the time they get their child.
Doesn't it feel like
they have it?
Doesn't it feel like after the 4 years with her grandmother that they were like, fuck, now we got to take her back. It seems as though
Probably.
it was like a burden where they were like, man, I wish she could just stay out there
Probably
in China with her grandmother, and we don't have to deal with them because we got this business to run.
Exactly. And it's like, why won't you grow up and take care of yourself?
Yeah.
You know, and then that breeds just anger.
Yeah. So he took this container that he had put his daughter's body in up a ladder and placed it in a crawl space above the walk-in freezer. And that's where some of the speculation about her being put in the walls, that's kind of where we found, I think you found this case on Snapchat, and the headline was parents hide daughter's body in the walls, something along those lines. And it was a little misleading, but fairly close, I guess, ultimately, because she was hidden in a crawl space within their own restaurant, which is just hideous.
Yes. Oh, gosh.
So then he put on his best game face, and several hours later, he would call police. And that's where that 911 call that we played earlier came from. And it's just full of red flags. And we'll get to some of that in a minute. He also revealed that he and his wife didn't initially raise their daughters, as we mentioned at length. You know, that they had been sent out to China to live with his mother for years. Somewhat customary in Chinese culture, it seems like. For grandparents to be at least heavily involved. It seems like not always is it just the grandparents that raise them, but a lot of times the grandparents live with the parents.
That's what I was
the grandparents
play
a big role in raising the grandchildren, but the parents are also there and part of it. Seems much more common than sending them off to China for years.
That's what I was going to say. I think a lot of times these people live in multi-generational homes. Yeah. Right. So they have the room and the space, and they're also, like you say, they're still around their children every day. But it's like having
which is crucial
babysitter that also
to develop that connection, to be in the same household as your young child.
Yes. Whether you're a sociopath or not.
No doubt. Yeah.
Wow.
So it was when young Ashley was returned in JoJo that the abuse began within the household. Liang said that Ashley would trigger Ming Ming when she wouldn't listen, and that's when she would hit her, quote unquote. He also admitted that that he never reported the abuse because he didn't want to split up his family. So this is where I turned on him.
That's even more dishonor.
This is where I turned on him. I'm just like, you know what? You're watching your wife like badly beat your children, and you're too afraid to say anything because maybe the family needs to be broken up. You know, like think about the child. Put yourself in that child's place, for God's sakes. Like, stop thinking about yourself.
Right. That's right.
Jesus.
Yeah, this definitely this fills him with just as much guilt as her.
And honestly, who knows if he was also beating the children? We don't have any evidence, but I wouldn't be that surprised.
No.
He told police that they then put her in a car seat, took her to the restaurant, as we mentioned. He says, quote, "We brought her inside and just laid her there, and we continued working." Police told their 6-year-old daughter that, Zhao told police that their 6-year-old daughter was very impressionable, and they believed she could be persuaded to believe that his sister was okay if they showed her sleeping in the back room. Well, yeah, she's a 6-year-old. Right. Of course, she's going to kind of tend to believe what her parents tell her.
Right. Why wouldn't she?
Yeah. He says, quote, "The plan was for JoJo to come home and see that she was there. Then I would tie her up," said Zhao, which I'm still kind of confused by. Tie her up, meaning the daughter that's already dead. What's the point in that?
I don't know. I guess just to prepare her body to be moved.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's weird. Crazy is, so when he had gone from the house with Ashley's body and taken her to the restaurant and transported her into the restaurant, he was actually spotted carrying her into the restaurant by like 2 workers that were working in the parking lot of this big strip mall or whatever. But they basically assumed that, you know, this is just a father carrying a sleeping child into his restaurant.
Right. Well, yeah. Why would you assume the child's dead?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just kind of crazy though to think, you know,
it is.
I'm sure later on they were like, oh my God, that's fucking crazy.
In hindsight. Yeah. They're like, wow, she was already gone.
Mm-hmm.
God, it just makes them such more monsters in my opinion.
Well, listen to this quote if you don't already think they're monsters. So in the interrogation video of Liang Zhao, he said that, you know, when the investigators asked what he was planning to do with the body when they eventually stopped the search, because she was up in that crawl space and he was assuming that they wouldn't find her. They did find her, but had they not, and she would still be quote unquote missing, what would he have done with her body? They're asking. And he says, quote, burn it, bury it, or throw it in the ocean.
Oh, my. Just the fact that your daughter just passed and you're already saying like you referred to earlier.
And just that
it's all
quote, burn it,
terminology,
bury it, or throw it in the ocean is one of the most despicable things I've ever heard. It just goes to show they had no connection to these children. Like, they just looked at them like an item, clearly to be disposed of at their own whim.
Apparently.
And there's some quotes from Ming Ming, who killed the young girl. Quote, I just killed her and then she died. I told my husband to take care of it. Can you imagine? That's your honey-do list. Get rid of our dead daughter today. That's part of your chores.
Right, because they got customers coming in.
Yeah. And she expressed some of her frustration, which led up to this quote. I need to take care of everything from the restaurant. I only have 2 hands. I don't want that. I don't want to do that to Ashley, but you can't control yourself sometimes.
No. That's unacceptable. That's unacceptable.
She makes it sound like she makes it sound like she had like a Snickers bar on a strict diet or something. Like, sometimes I can't control myself. Like, killing your daughter doesn't fall into that category, you know?
No. And you knew this was happening, and you probably knew it was escalating as well, just like Zhao did.
Yeah.
He saw this.
Yep. So County Prosecutor John Ferrero said evidence and interviews in the case indicate that Chen didn't plan or intend to kill the daughter, and that it was a tragedy committed in a fit of anger by a mother who had never bonded with her child. So that's prosecutor. The defense attorney disagreed with that characterization, saying that Chen is apologetic and takes responsibility for her actions. He also said that the case, if it had gone to trial, they would have argued that Chen's husband, Liang Zhao, was violent toward both the girl and Chen, and that he also bore responsibility for the death. I agree with that. Yeah, as it was, Liang Zhao. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I don't know if he was violent towards them, but they must have some type of evidence, right?
Well, probably statements from Ming Ming. I'm sure it sounds like she turned on her own husband. She's a very selfish person, and probably tried to put some of the blame on him to her defense attorney, and he bought it, or at least he acted like he bought it because that's his job.
Right. But he turned on her too.
Yeah, we have no evidence.
Were just all about self-preservation.
We have zero evidence of him abusing or hitting his children. We have all the evidence in the world that she does. So I'm going to go with what we have factual evidence of. She killed her daughter. She beat her so bad.
Fair enough.
So Zhao would plead guilty to obstructing justice and corpse abuse, tampering with evidence, and endangering children, and agreed to testify against his wife in exchange for murder charges being dropped against him. And his attorney, who previously said that Zhao maintained his innocence in the child's death, basically got him 12 years for this plea deal where he testified against his wife.
God.
And during a hearing on October 12th, 2017, Ming Ming Chen would plead not guilty to the murder charge by reason of insanity, once again being a selfish piece of shit, not even being willing to admit to what she had done and take responsibility for her actions.
Right. I thought you were overwhelmed and your anger got the best of you. Which is it?
Yeah.
Like, you're either insane or you were overwhelmed, because an insane person, they probably wouldn't feel that. They wouldn't feel the stresses and the anxiety of real life and trying to take care of children in a restaurant and all that.
Yeah,
probably wouldn't even be capable of doing that.
I was going to say, and what other evidence do we have of you being insane other than this one act? I mean, you had an absolutely normal life otherwise. You went to work every day, ran a business successfully.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it
doesn't add up.
It's absurd. Yeah. And so on December 29th, 2017, after she pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter, she would be sentenced to 22 years in prison. And as it is, when she gets done with that 22-year sentence, since she came to the U.S. illegally when she was a teenager, she will actually be deported back to China after being released from prison. So she'll be China's problem when she's done with her 22-year sentence.
And at least she'll be far away from her other daughter, JoJo.
Yeah. And we have
because
some good quotes.
By then, JoJo will be an adult, obviously.
Yeah. And we have some good quotes from the judge who said it as well as what you're saying. The judge who put out the sentencing, Stark County Common Pleas Judge Krissa Hartnett, told Chen it was with great pain that she referred to her as a mother when speaking to her. Children, she said, should be able to rely on their parents for love, safety, and protection. And in this case, I can't imagine the horror for your child, Ashley. Quote, this was a tragic case, but part of the reason that we did this was So we know that she'll be in prison long enough that when she gets out, JoJo, her older daughter, will be a grown adult and be able to protect herself.
Yeah.
So the 22-year sentence ensures that 6-year-old, who was 6 at the time, now she's a teenager because this was in 2017.
Right.
It ensures that she'll be well into adulthood by the time her mother gets out, and then she'll be obviously taken to China anyway. So she will have her own have to make her own decision as to whether she ever wants to have a relationship with her mother, who did this to her younger sister, and hopefully not.
Right. She'll be around 28. She'll be pushing 30 when her mom comes out.
Yep.
You know, it sucks she has to grow up without a mother though, but maybe she's able to reconnect with her grandmother. I don't know. That's a tough situation. She was put in Child Protective Services, right? Stark County.
Yeah.
Because her father had to do 12 years.
Yep.
Right? So she's, I mean, minimum, she's going to be 18 before either of her parents get out.
Yep.
Yeah, that's tough.
Hopefully she got a nice, like, foster home or something like that. Some adoptive parents that actually care and try to.
I hope so, because I'm sure she was a very like independent, low maintenance child.
Yeah.
She had to be, right? Or she would have ended up like her sister.
Yeah.
She had to be a low maintenance, you know, self-preserving type of child. And that's what's so sad about it. Like, both of these girls probably could have had a bright future just because they were raised, you know, around constant work and you know, good work ethic, I guess.
No fun. Like they were allowed to have no fun in their lives.
Right. They didn't have time for it. Parents didn't have time for it.
Yeah.
Like you said, they prioritized that business.
But as for young Ashley, who was taken far too soon, a man named Douglas Panzarello, at the time, worked across the street from Ang's restaurant and said he went there all the time. And he called Ashley Zhao very social for such a little girl. Quote, "A lot of 5-year-olds are shy. She was very vocal. She's not afraid to talk to you." Another regular customer named Marty Shamali said, quote, "She was the sweetest little thing. I loved her so much. Every time I picked up food, she was behind the counter and would talk to me." So just absolutely horrible.
And the parents, they just didn't know what they had. They didn't appreciate her. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. The judge that sentenced Ming Ming continued. She said, "No number of years would constitute a long enough prison term, but that avoiding a graphic trial to preserve Ashley's memory for her sister, who was old enough to understand what is happening, was desirable." She added that she felt comfort knowing that the couple's living daughter was far better off without having Chen as a parent.
I agree with that.
And as for the 911 call, we have some quotes from an article from Psychology Today called "Lying, Murder, and Deceptive 911 Calls" by Joni E. Johnston. And so she's going to break down some of these red flags that were in that call. Quote, "Genuine 911 callers have one goal in mind: to get medical assistance, to respond as soon as possible. I need an ambulance right now at 1940 Seaview Avenue right now. My husband has been shot," is an example. They don't care about being polite, offering explanations for where they've been before they discovered the victim, or offer extraneous information such as the fact that the two of them had been in an argument or that the victim had been in a car accident 2 weeks ago. Their message is simple and urgent: get your butt over here as soon as possible and save the person I love. In fact, even when it's clear to emergency responders that the victim is beyond resuscitation, genuine 911 callers may refuse to believe their loved one is dead and demand that the medical professionals continue to attempt to revive their loved one. Finally, one distinguishing factor between fake versus genuine 911 calls is the use of evasion. We all know it takes a lot more energy to lie than to tell the truth, and keeping a story straight is especially hard when you're making it up as you go along. As a result, fake 911 callers are more likely to get thrown off by easy questions. Huh? In response to how many stairs did they fall down? Giving conflicting information. He was fine a few hours ago. I've been asleep all night. And avoid or repeat answers, which is very much what Liang was doing in that phone call. The constant, huh? What? No. What do you know? I told you this is what happened. You know, constantly going over his own story that he made up in his fucking head.
Exactly. Trying to believe it himself.
Mm-hmm.
Man. And just the fact, I don't know, man. I guess the fact that she went missing, I guess that's why they reported her missing instead of, "Oh, we found her dead."
Yeah.
You know, in this back room or whatever. I think it was easier. I guess they thought that the cops were just going to come in, check their apartment, find nothing, start a local search, and then in the midst of that, they were going to go and hide a body. You don't think the cops are going to be keeping tabs on you?
I think that next morning they had actually already been searching the woods behind the strip mall where the restaurant was. I think that was their hopes, is that they were going to buy that Ashley wandered off and got snatched up by someone or whatever, and they would never find her clearly. And when they would, as he said, burn the body, get rid of it or whatever, get rid of the evidence. And it might have worked had they not stupidly put her body in their own restaurant. Like they probably would have been better off like temporarily hiding the body, reporting her missing, and then later getting rid of the body for good type of thing.
Right.
But
here's my thing, dude. Why not? I mean, if you're already this dark and you're already come to terms with you're just going to get rid of the body, why not do that first?
Yeah.
I mean, what, you couldn't shut down the store? I guess I couldn't shut down the store, the restaurant for a couple hours?
That would be definitely alarming to police. Like, why did you do that when your guys are always open? This is your number one priority is your restaurant. And then you just happen to close down on the day. Well, it would make sense that they would close down if she was missing for a few hours, right? Their daughter was missing.
You could be like, well, you could be like, yeah, we closed down to go search for her. We thought maybe she was in a local area or something like that. And in the meantime, they were,
getting rid of her.
They could have actually buried her body. So I'm kind of glad they handled it in this shitty way.
Absolutely. They fucked
these
themselves.
People, yeah, they deserve to be in prison. 22 years really isn't enough.
Yeah.
A mother that kills her child in a fit of anger is a danger to anyone.
Mm-hmm. And when you see the behavior and the absolute lack of remorse afterwards and just complete
That's what I'm saying.
Narcissism, just only caring about herself.
Some Diane Down shit, man.
Yeah. No doubt.
That's dark.
Yeah.
That's dark.
Yeah.
You saw your child as an obstacle instead of, something that implements your life and makes it better.
Yeah. But speaking of implementing your life and making your life better, Oh My Gaia, all natural deodorant beard oil company.
That's right.
Absolutely makes your life better.
Absolutely, man. You pick up on my segues, Lauren.
Yes.
Not away.
You set me up. You throw me a softball and I nailed it.
That's what I do, man. But guys, at Oh My Gaia is an innovative all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil. Have I ever done this ad before? I don't think I've done it.
I don't think so.
It's kind of hard to read. But it's an all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. And their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while maintaining effectiveness. And at Oh My Gaia, they use only all-natural paraben and aluminum-free organic ingredients. Guys, today I'm rocking some Egyptian musk. That's one of my favorite scents. That was probably my first love from Oh My Gaia. Wendy sent it to me as a sample pack, and I just love that scent. I also love Barbershop, and of course, True Crime Pine, one of our favorite scents here. A great unisex scent, a great scent to start with if you don't know where to start, especially if you're a True Crime Guys listener. But there's also vanilla, cherry almond, sandalwood, lavender, lemongrass, coconut, dreamsicle, leather, lumberjack, honeysuckle, fireside, bergamot, amber, pear, sweet pea, and sailor. So much to choose from, guys, at ohmygaia.com. And because you are True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the word creeper for 15% off your order. That's CREEPER for 15% off your order at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram or ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. You won't regret it, guys.
Nope. You also won't regret checking out our other weekly sponsor, Tonic CBD. It's true. Not all CBD products are created equal. From how the hemp is grown and processed to how it's formulated and delivered into your body, every step of the process that goes into making the product affects your ultimate experience with it. That's why Tonic's products really stand out. Founder Brittany Carbone created her own original formulas using CBD, adaptogens, herbs, and superfoods back in 2017 and has been working to deliver the most effective, intentional, and sustainable products possible. They cultivate their own hemp on their certified organic family farm in upstate New York. That hemp travels only 30 minutes to their state-of-the-art manufacturing distribution facility where it's turned into a finished product and sent to you, ensuring only the highest quality vibes at every stage of the process. They have a bunch of different blends. Chill Tonic is a bestseller for them and one of my favorites to take right before bedtime. It's got ashwagandha, lemon balm, and passion flower to deliver a calming effect and help you sleep. It also has black seed oil, which is in many of their blends, and it's an antioxidant powerhouse and helps to reduce that inflammation in your body. It's also easy to verify the quality of their products. They have a microchip in the top of their packaging, which you can tap your phone on and get third-party lab reports, product information, details about the farm, and helpful blog posts to help you with the education about CBD. So with values rooted in quality, integrity, and sustainability, Tonic is committed to creating a plant-based wellness product that is good for you, good for the people, and good for the planet. Then visit tonicvibes.com and learn more using code word CREEPER for 20% off your order. That's tonicvibes.com. Code word CREEPER for 20% off. Do it.
That's right. What's also cool about Tonic, guys, is it's grown and made and packaged right here in the U.S. In upstate New York, which is really cool. Like the farm, I think, is 30 minutes from the actual factory, which is incredible. You know, it's not like this stuff is being packaged and then, you know, sent for weeks over the road and whatnot. Like you're getting the freshest type of CBD. You're getting the freshest ingredients, and it's through a very transparent company too.
Absolutely.
Which in this day and age is pretty rare. It's pretty rare.
Yep.
All right.
So anything
else?
Yeah. I mean, our Patreon page, if you haven't checked that
check
out.
us out on Patreon.
Yeah. Check out Patreon. We talk about it every week. We got a bunch of extra content on there. If you love the show, if you just found it and you haven't checked out patreon.com/truecrimeguys yet, check it out. $2 a month, get you access to a bunch of episodes, a lot of the heavy hitter serial killers. And there's a lot of our old episodes in the vault in there. So $2 a month.
The first 50 episodes.
First 50 episodes. If you're one of those that has to start at the beginning of a new podcast that you find, that's where you're going to find it. And if you don't want the $2 a month on your card getting hit, you can pay $21 up front, save 10%, and be done for the year. You get 12 months of our content for $21. You can also go up to the $5 tier where you get even more content. That's all on patreon.com/truecrimeguys. We won't go into too much more detail. Go check it out.
That's right, guys. We appreciate it very much. Best way to support the show. And if you can't, no big deal. Just give us a rating or a review, whether you listen on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever. Yeah, tell a friend. Tell a friend, guys. We appreciate it. Check out our other show, Strange and Unexplained, wherever you listen on the free platform. There's hundreds of episodes on there as well. I can't believe I'm over 100 episodes on Strange and Unexplained already.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
Wow.
Lauren has a segment on there if you guys haven't checked it out. It's where we talk about a lot of unsolved and strange cases, as well as paranormal, strange phenomena, things like that. I break down the case for you, kind of give you the facts, and then Lauren comes in the Lauren synopsis, where he has his own theme song and everything, and he gives you his opinion on what's going on. So we kind of get to discuss it, not with each other, but we get to research separately and then give our opinions on this strange unsolved case, and you kind of get some other perspectives. So again, that's Strange and Unexplained, wherever you listen to podcasts.
Also, check out the Full House Fantasy Football podcast while it's still going.
Yes.
We're midway through the season. If you need some help with your fantasy team, check us out. We record every week and release new episodes. Full House Fantasy Football podcast. We get your starts, sits, and break down the weekly matchups over there on that podcast. So,
right on.
All right. Everybody have a great week. And keep creeping. See you next week.
Keep creeping, guys.
From the minds of true crime guys, come TCG Weekly.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please feel free to check out all the other programs on the TCG network. Every Wednesday, a new episode of True Crime Guys proper, Strange and Unexplained on Mondays, and Full House Fantasy Football on Fridays to start your weekend. And if those aren't enough, head on over to our Patreon account, where you can have access to hundreds of hours of content, including older episodes and other Patreon exclusives like Strange Shorts, Sandu Stories, Higher Thoughts, and the 5-Minute Murder Show. But until next time, guys, keep creeping. Hey, how do you shut this thing off? Over?
You hush your mouth, boy.